Now, we are going to get into my top 5 remaining free agents because there are still some guys out there who could help any championship roster get the coveted Larry O'Brien trophy. So let's get to our first remaining free agent. It's Jamal Crawford, who, a very good player. Still, I think at least, not the same player he used to be, but still has a decent amount of ability. And I think that he could be a good bench player for any competitive team, whether maybe he comes in for the Warriors to replace someone off the bench like a Nick Young, who's not going to be coming back. They have a couple other teams, maybe the 76ers could use a guy like Jamal Crawford. I even think the Celtics could use a guy like Jamal Crawford. He is still a workable player. At this time, if you need someone to get buckets, who has playoff experience, who could be a good veteran guy for your locker room, why not get someone like Jamal Crawford? I think the 76ers would be a great landing spot for him. He knows J.J. Redick. They know each other from their time in Los Angeles with the Clippers. And also, it'd be great for a young team. But why couldn't Jamal Crawford join the Warriors? We know he wants a ring. I think the Warriors need maybe 1 or 2 more shooters off the bench. I like Quinn Cook. I like Jacob Evans, who they drafted as well. But I think Jamal Crawford could be a great veteran to add to that locker room. I mean, David West isn't coming back. The Warriors have already made that very clear. Zaza Pachulia is gone as well. I think Jamal Crawford could be a good fit for the Golden State Warriors. He's going to be a fun player to see in the NBA next year. He wants a title. He deserves a title. It just really depends on what team he ends up going to. Got a comment coming in from Eduardo Ramos Francisco Jr. Crawford in Lakers too. Also an option. I think the Lakers would be a good option. However, I'm just worried you bring in someone like Jamal Crawford. I think that eats into Josh Hart's playing time, and they already re-signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Your guess is as good as mine for why Kentavious Caldwell-Pope got re-signed by the Lakers, but Crawford is also an option for LA. Yvonne coming in saying if the 76ers get Crawford, they'll beat the Celtics plus Rodney Hood. Well, Rodney Hood's going to stay on the Cavs, and we'll get to him in a little bit here. Actually, we're going to get to him right now. Rodney Hood is our next remaining free agent, restricted free agent for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Was very inconsistent in the playoffs, but was quite good, I thought, during the regular season. I very much enjoyed watching him when he was on the Utah Jazz. I thought he was a good bench scorer. The dude averaged 16 points per game on the Jazz before he got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it just wasn't as good. I think the fit was weird. I think the situation he walked into was bad. I think that he wanted to be a guy who, was a primary playmaker for the Cavs, and they ended up using him as a really deep bench guy, which was weird. He has a lot of ability. I mean, there's not a lot of dudes at the shooting guard position with his ability to shoot at his size. I think he can still be a very effective player. And now we see, again, the Cavs are just, kind of pulling his rope by not giving him the contract he wants. He doesn't want a crazy long-term deal. He wants a 2 to 3 year contract that allow him to re-hit the market in a couple of years, but it's just the Cavs got to figure out what they want their team to be, because they give Kevin Love this crazy max extension, but they won't give Rodney Hood the money that he wants. They have all these horrifyingly bad overpaid players, yet the one guy who wants to be there, Rodney Hood, they won't give a contract to. Like, it just, again, it's consistent weird decision making by Kobe Altman and this Cleveland Cavaliers team, who I think at least were one of the biggest losers of the offseason outside of losing LeBron James. I mean, the Kevin Love contract is going to be one of the worst deals in the NBA for years to come. So Rodney Hood, still one of the top 5 remaining free agents. By the way, these are not in order. There's really no way to order these guys 1 to 5 because, at this point, none of them are exactly what you call an NBA superstar. How about a former NBA superstar, or I guess superstar based off reputation rather than obviously his current basketball skills? But Dwyane Wade on our list of the top 5 remaining free agents. Still, he is 36 years old. But he had the second most points for the Heat in the playoffs this year. He was a very effective player for them. Couple nice clutch shots. It was great to see him in the Miami Vice uniforms as well. He got to Miami and he just looked happy. And it was great seeing Dwyane Wade happy and healthy again. He looked like he was trying. The effort was there. He was smiling. He loves the Miami Heat crowd, and the crowd was there for him as well. We had a big expose come out the other day about his battle with Gabrielle Union's battle with her issues getting pregnant and her marriage with Dwyane Wade. It was a beautiful article that came out the other day if you want to go read it. So I think Dwyane Wade at this time in his life has a lot of other things going on. And I wonder if this is probably the first or second year in his life where basketball just isn't a priority anymore. It's just not. Well, playing basketball, I should say, isn't as much of a priority for him as more. I think he's going to retire. I think Dwyane Wade's done. I think that he's going on this media tour. He's selling shoes in China. There's been no hints at all that he even wants to come back next year. The Heat are already trying to dump a bunch of salary. They're not going to be very good. I think Dwyane Wade is going to retire. I think he's done. One of the 5 best shooting guards in the history of basketball. I say number 3 behind Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Dwyane Wade at his peak is one of the best shooting guards that we've had in the history of basketball. I think he's done. He's going out, again, as one of the best players we've ever seen. So if he does retire, it'll be a great career. But let me know in the comment section if you think Dwyane Wade will ever play in the NBA again. Let's go to our next free agent here, Nick Young, who, as of right now, is still a free agent. He is. Now, the Golden State Warriors have really no idea what they're going to do in terms of Nick Young. Are they going to bring him back? Are they going to, allow him to go to the free agent market? But he is not on a team right now, which is kind of a head scratcher because, look, he was decently effective last year for the Golden State Warriors. I mean, he came in and he did what they needed him to do. They needed him to shoot threes. He came in and shot threes at a 37% clip. He only shot about 41% from the field, so obviously, he wasn't fantastic. And not to mention, he's a pretty massive defensive liability, but the dude can still shoot threes. And in the NBA at his age, I mean, he's only, 33 years old? There's still a place in the NBA for a guy like Nick Young. I would love to see Swaggy P either on the Knicks, maybe you put him on the Lakers. Put Swaggy P in a big-time market, and let's see him just have some fun. I am stunned that the Lakers haven't reached back out to Nick Young to bring him back in. I know that it's to be consistent with what I said about Jamal Crawford to the Lakers, Nick Young would eat into Josh Hart's playing time. However, I mean, with the roster that they're putting together, come on, is Nick Young not perfect for that roster? With Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, Nick Young is perfect for that team. They need to bring him in there. They're already going to be a reality TV show. Nick Young is probably one of the funniest dudes in the NBA, at least his whole life. So, incorrect. As Lena Bond just sends me a message, it's the meme team, and there's no greater meme player in the NBA than Nick Young. There just isn't. There's never existed a greater meme player than Nick Young and JaVale McGee on the same team. So Nick Young, one of our top 5 remaining free agents. Let's go to our next guy here, David West, who might just retire. I'm not really sure what David West is going to do. He doesn't have a lot left, but I think he could be a good veteran presence for any young team in the playoffs. Coming up back-to-back championships with the Warriors. He's got his rings. I would love to see him go back to Indiana for one more year. I'd love to see him help them in terms of the young core that they have on that team and help get them to the playoffs. Some of his best years came with the Pacers. They were one of the best teams in the NBA when he was there as their starting power forward. I would love to see him go back and be back in the yellow and blue of the Indiana Pacers. Not that they're going to win anything this year, but just, I'd love to see Vince Carter go back and play for the Raptors for one more year. And I'd love to go see Zach Randolph go back and play for the Grizzlies one more year, even though they already retired his jersey, which was weird that they've already done that, but that's besides the point. I would love to see David West rejoin the Pacers. There's not a lot of places for him to really sign right now. I mean, he's probably not going to go back to the Spurs. The Rockets don't really have a spot for him. There's nowhere, like the elite teams in the NBA in terms of the Celtics and the 76ers and the Raptors don't really have a spot for him either. So I think David West would be really fun to see back on the Indiana Pacers. But let's go back through my top 5 remaining free agents. Jamal Crawford, Rodney Hood, Dwyane Wade, Nick Young, and David West. Got a comment coming in from Kent Bryan saying Nick Young to Boston. That would be fun. And you know what? The fit actually wouldn't be terrible. It wouldn't be that bad either. I mean, Nick Young would bring in a lot of shooting off that bench. They don't have a ton of, I would say their number one weakness right now, despite, they have so many wings that they can bring off the bench, but they don't really have a knockdown shooter off the bench. They don't have like a Kyle Korver or Joe Ingles kind of player who can come off the bench and nail some threes. I like Terry Rozier, but he's the backup point guard. He's not going to come in and be, a guy who's standing behind the three-point line as a knockdown shooter. They don't really have that guy yet, and I wonder if Nick Young could end up being that dude. But that roster's already so stacked, I don't know if they want to really mess around with it.